and welcome to the Cancer Journey podcast. I'm Alicia.
And I'm Sherry Ann.
So today we're going to be talking about people pleasing, which is a very hot topic, and the expectations that come up around that. But before we get started, we're going to get grounded with PESH. So I don't know who started last. So Sherry Ann, you go first.
Okay, I shall. Right. Physically, 4.2. Emotionally, 4.45. Spirit, 4.55. And hope, 4.5. And my word is pink.
Obviously, that's a positive kind of pink. It's not like pink. Okay. Physically, I am. Wow, I feel like I haven't gotten grounded and PESH in a while, so this is really nice. Physically, I am 4.3. Emotionally, I am a 4.75. Spirit is a 4.45, and hope is a 4.3. And my word is calm. Yeah.
Okay, so people pleasing, big topic, especially when you're on a cancer journey. It's like, ooh, how am I supposed to be? So there's that expectation, people pleasing. I mean, it's kind of all wrapped up in a ball. And what's coming up for me right now? What's coming up for me right now is, how do I want to be perceived? Because when you're on a cancer journey, you're really very self-conscious, I think. It's like, I'm not feeling well. I've got this family that wants me to be really positive. How am I going to be?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, so even pulling back just like a little bit further on people pleasing, I think, and going where you're going, I think there's that separation between the self and everything out there, the internal versus external. So sometimes we feel, especially on a cancer journey, when things are out of control, that the only power we have or the ability to control that we have is outside of ourselves. And so because we're like, okay, this cancer is wreaking havoc in here and like I can't do anything about it, a perceived notion that all I can do is fix things out there and show it for the people out there and put on this brave face, and I don't want to be seen as XYZ, and I don't want this expectation or this assumption that I'm weak and that I'm sick and I'm incapable and I'm helpless, no matter how true those things may actually be or feel to me. So there's this wrestling, and even putting aside the cancer journey, when we talk about people pleasing, with people pleasing, there's a lack of recognition here, because this is hard to really explain, I feel like, because when we say the word people pleasing and we acknowledge that there's people pleasing, there is so much awareness on that, but it's awareness of these actions that are happening as we're not realizing them. Because no one is doing them and saying, I'm people pleasing, I'm doing it. It's always there is kind of a negative connotation to like, oh man, like I always fall back into that people pleasing. And so the differentiation between the action of people pleasing and naming it as people pleasing it feels really far apart. So sometimes, especially on a cancer journey, we're just doing it. We're not even thinking about it. We're just trying to put on a brave face, and we're not trying to put words to it. We in this podcast are obviously putting words to it, but even the acknowledgement that we don't always do that as we're in the action of it, I think is really important.
I'm having a collapse distinction right now as you're saying this. And my body's going, yes, yes, yes. The collapse distinction is people pleasing. Here's the collapse distinction. People pleasing, and then having people feel comfortable around me or providing comfort. And so they're becoming one and the same, but they're not. I mean, they're totally different. And whether you're on a cancer journey or not, it's still there. I just flashed on a situation just yesterday where my in-laws were here and I'm there and I'm like, what can I get you? Do you want some tea? Can I get you something to eat? And then, I mean, it was all about having them feel comfortable. At the same time, I can walk away from that going, well, what did I just do? I wasn't in that equation. And it's not that being of service and helping somebody isn't a good thing. It's more like, am I doing it because I'm trying for something? whatever that something is. And being really conscious, like you said, it's so unconscious, being really conscious of, I'm doing this so that she doesn't get mad, so that she doesn't say, oh, I had a bad time with Sherry, whatever that was. Or was I really doing it in service of? It's so collapsed for me right now.
Yeah. Yeah, and like in that situation too, you're putting them first and likely putting yourself last, if not at all. Right? Like you're not it's hard to be cognizant of it in the moment itself. So I think that like when we're talking about people pleasing, it's really important to be like, why are we people pleasing? I do think a lot of it is cultural. It's like not wanting to be perceived negatively and wanting to be of service. And a lot of it too, even though I do feel like it's widely cultural, it's almost like I'm here to help people, here to serve people, and that comes with this like air of like excellence and like this. I think it's also just shying away from this selfishness, right? It's like, oh, I'm not all about myself. I'm not obsessed with it. It's all about everyone else. Like it's not about me. Like because we've been so shamed as a society for being just not even selfish, but like putting yourself first and making things in the way that you want them. As beings, as human beings, we only really have ourselves to take care of, that we actually do have a ton of control internally of ourselves, and it does need to start here, because if we're not taking care of what's here, we can't successfully take care of what's out there. And I think for me that's not the distinction of internal external, and the real relationship I want to have with it is to be able to, yes, put my needs and my desires first, but also have awareness of everyone else's at the same time. Um, but when we are in that mode of people pleasing, not thinking about actually, I'm people pleasing now, it's because we want to impress someone else, we want to show something, we want to, yes, of course, be of service and be helpful, but there's more to it than just that. There's so much more of a benefit that we derive from showing up for someone, our own peace, you know? Like there's so much that goes with it. Yeah, I feel like
Ooh,
I just babbled
okay.
there.
No, 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 no. I got everything you said. There's a lot of mix up of service, impressing, cultural, because what I got from what you said is I want to be perceived as valuable. And that's what I'm saying to myself. So if I do this, X, Y, and Z, if I provide sustenance, if I provide solace, I mean, if I provide things for other people, then I'm valuable. And that is putting myself last because I'm not fulfilling my, ooh, what's going on with my throat? Not fulfilling my need, feeling valuable to me. So taking care of myself first instead of putting myself last, which now that I'm in hindsight, I'm thinking I was pretty exhausted last night after the activities of the day because I was giving, 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 and it wasn't me to me. I didn't take a moment and say, "Excuse me, I need to go chill out for a little bit because I'm just on and I'm giving to everybody and not me." Which when I come back to it, it's like, what was that for? It wasn't. I mean, people pleasing really feels like it's got such a negative connotation. So I'm like, oh, do I say that? But the truth is, I did. I wanted everyone to be pleased before me. So what happens to the me pleasing? That happened when I collapsed and went to sleep because I was so exhausted. I know it's funny, but it's so true. And
Hmm.
when on a cancer journey, you want not to affect everybody, like bring them down or depress them because you're feeling crappy. So you're putting on the smile, you're putting on kind of a positive persona as best as you can, saying, I got this, or, I'm fine, because we don't think that they can handle it if they really knew how we felt. And then we would feel like a burden is put on them. So, I mean, like there's these two different scenarios, but they're all putting myself not first.
Yeah, I'm gonna pause because I just need to cough. um Yes. And I love that you brought an example and you're like, actually, I'm realizing that now. And I think a lot of us don't have that space, that moment to have that reflection even. But yeah, it constantly depletes you. And to put it also into CJI terms, what we say is it's taking away your power. You're giving away your power. Um, and power is not power over someone. Power is not forceful. It's not um instilling your will into everyone around you and being the like dictator. That's not what we mean by power. We mean that you have this like fire in you that helps you get what you want and make the things that matter to you happen. And when you give away your power and you allow someone else to completely take over, you don't get what you want or need. And that's a losing situation for you. We want to, yes, have you get what you want to need, but also in a safe environment, creating a safer environment for everyone. Because when we give away our power and we don't get what we want or need, we are depleted, and we begin to feel more helpless or powerless, and we go into places of worrying up and just powering through, or becoming a martyr or a victim. So when we're really in our power, there's so much trust here that we know we're going to give ourselves what we want, but we're also still going to take care of the people around us. And that's kind of the difference that we're talking about. And I think that clarifying is like the expectation that we have when we are actively people pleasing, not just thinking and knowing that it was people pleasing, is that okay, well, if we make everything good for everyone else, like everything will be fine, right? The first part would be that people pleasing, that expectation that whatever I fix out there will fix me in here. Holding your power, and what our perspective is that there's this trust, this inherent trust that if I am in alignment with myself and not giving all of this away, giving myself away, then I can still create this space. I trust myself that I'm creating this space that not only attracts, but really nurtures the people that I love and care about, because I love and care about them. Like that is just innate in being fully myself and being able to give to them in a way that is really authentic to me. And so then everyone gets to win. And so when the alternative, as you can see, is kind of giving your power away in lieu of what everyone else wants, we don't get to win. But in this way that we're speaking of, in the way that we teach at the Cancer Journey Institute, everyone gets to win, and you can have both. And what's really funny about this moment is, as I'm explaining this, I just felt the light change, and I just felt like the worth of a little more light. And so I love when that happens, and it just feels like, oh, am I enlightened?
What I loved about what you said was the win-win, because that was what's going on in my head. When we're giving our power away, and I in that word power, there's also our energy. So it's not, they're not the same, but they're in cases. So like power is this more global thing of the essence of me and really having all of me, and then energy is a part of that. But when we keep giving away our power, we're giving away our energy, so that there is nothing, not nothing, but there's less available for us. Just wanted to come back to that, because when you said win-win, it's like what I did was I actually took away the power of somebody else when I try to people please them, when I try to be too much of service, when I wanted to do so much for them that I was trying to think ahead and see what they wanted, or think that I knew exactly what they wanted, and did it for them instead of asking them what they want, or allowing people. We say this all the time at CJI, allowing people to ask for what they want, because they know absolutely, but we don't always ask for what we want for so many reasons, societal value that we have. If I like, oh, I got it, I'm taking care of everybody. I mean, all of that. But when I'm allowing somebody to ask for what they want, and it's a win-win situation, they get to stand in their power. It's like, oh, I get to ask for what I want, and I can be there with them and like walk hand in hand and say, well, you don't have to do it by yourself. I can help you. And
Mhm.
together, we're both feeding each other instead of me feeding them, giving away my power, and then me depleting myself. I mean, it makes sense, and yet there's some consciousness in that.
Yeah. And I'm going to use your favorite word here. When you ask someone what they want, you give them permission to figure out what they actually want. I mean, don't get me wrong, many, many times I get the answer, I don't know. Okay, that's so fine. That's where you're at. This was not pressured to come up with an answer. You can circle back with me in 5 minutes. You can circle back with me in 5 weeks. Like, I just want to know what you want because I don't actually know. But also, when we're talking about people pleasing, right? And I was saying the like two sides of it. Actually, when we're going from the people pleasing mode and we're assuming, like I'm gonna take your example, and I'm sorry if it makes you feel like you're wrong, and you know that you weren't, but just if we're going off your example, right? You're offering tea. You're like, I can get you tea. I can get you, whatever the definitive XYZ was of that. If you got it wrong, not only are you putting all your eggs, all your power eggs in that basket, and so if you're wrong, you're like, I don't know anything, I'm so wrong, I'm gonna get everything wrong, I'm so stupid, I should know, kind of thing. But also, if it's wrong, it may not be, you know what I mean? Even if it's wrong, for them, they might not feel seen, heard, or gotten. They're gonna be like, why did she think I wanted tea when I'm such a coffee person? Does she know me at all? And so it actually becomes a lose lose when we're people pleasing, especially when we're so disconnected from yourself because maybe you do know they're a coffee person. You're like, oh my God, I know you're a coffee person. I'm so stupid. Like, how did I not know that? And it's like, okay, all of your internal resources are still there and waiting for you, but you were trying to please so much out there that you were lost because you aren't out there, you are here. And so being grounded in who you are and what you want and what you have to offer, which is so, so much, which also goes along with holding your power, but knowing that makes your impact that much more powerful. And I think that's also why people pleasing, when we get into that mode, it's so outside of ourselves, it's so inauthentic to ourselves too. Um, Gosh, it feels like so far away. It feels like an echo or a shadow. And then we look back and we feel, sometimes you start to feel regret, is what we may name it. I'm sure there are a lot of other emotions that go with it, and it's very situational. And I just want to bring it back to, this is not a judgment that you're wrong to people please. Your your luminous intent
Mhm.
was so righteous and so pure and comes from such a it comes from a place that is very loving and caring and desiring to be helpful. There's nothing wrong with that. Your desire to be helpful and who you are just disconnected in those moments. And like we said in the beginning, knowing that that separation is there, it was the unconsciousness of people pleasing. And like when we're in it, we don't always know. But the more that we can try to be authentic and show up for ourselves, the more we can start to realize it. Having someone who really hears you too and hears you in interactions where maybe you didn't feel so good, right? Like, it's not your singular responsibility to be like, oh yeah, that moment that I feel uncomfortable about, I was people pleasing. I mean, I think it tends to be easier for people now because we have the term, and I think having that term float around in our zeitgeist, pop culture, whatever you want to call it, makes it really helpful to identify in ourselves rather than not having a word for it at all. But to have someone who you can share, like, I had this interaction. I don't know why I feel some type of way after, but I feel something and it's not good. To have someone that you can have that conversation with, a cancer journey coach is really, really good at that because they get it. You don't have to explain the full feeling, but you get to explain how you feel, where it's landing, what feels uncomfortable, and they help you discover what's going on there? What's more than just people pleasing? Maybe they will also say, like, it sounds like you're in that mode of people pleasing, but it's going to show up differently for everyone in the unique way that you do it. So, what is that? What is that interaction that you had? Like, let's pull it apart and let's get clear about what it was for you, what message was there for you, and how you want to move forward.
There's so much learning here. And I love where you went with the whole luminous intent of it was never to hurt anybody, including yourself. And so I'm going to come back to what you just said about the unconsciousness. With the cancer journey coach, because it's the safe place, it's a wonderful place to like process this as you were explaining. But what I was getting is here's a learning point, right? If we could recognize, even with the help of a cancer journey coach, that we were in people pleasing mode, we can come back and say, all right, well, I forgive myself for doing that because I did it unconsciously. That was my luminous intent was always something good. So I could forgive myself for that. And then come back and go, well, how would I have wanted to do this if I really was standing in my power and was there for a win-win situation with me winning also? So it would be this wonderful training ground to try things on, or a new way of doing life in these situations where we could say, you know, that thing I just did, I took away your power. Let me, instead of saying, can I get you a cup of tea, go, what is it that you would like? And if they're saying, I don't know, it's like, well, let's just pause for a moment because I'm here to be of service. But I also don't want to take away anything from you. And I also don't want to take away anything from me by trying to guess and assume that I know what you want. So let's just be here together and think about it. And they can say, you know, you're right. I could go for a really good cup of coffee. And you can say, great, let me get that for you. And at the same time, I think I'm going to get myself a tea. Maybe that's why I offered tea in the first place, because I wanted a cup of tea. And so now it really is a win-win situation where we're both still standing in our power. We get to have what we want. And it's not one or the other. It's like, yes, and. So that felt really good from what you were saying.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Do you want to do your takeaway?
Oh, yes. So we covered so much ground here. My takeaway is that we're not always conscious of this thing called people pleasing. And it can be something that is so rote. Like this is how you've been. Again, it could be for whatever reasons. This is how you were raised. This is just how you do things. I'm like, don't beat yourself up. It's okay. It's now realize that you're part of the equation. So what do you need? What do I need? And then put that out there too. And that is all okay. Actually, it's preferred. I don't want somebody who's all about service for me, regardless of my situation, whether I'm going through a cancer journey or just an everyday. It's like, let's do something that's fun for both of us. Okay. I love that. And if even if I'm feeling really tired and crappy, it might be, I kind of would like to just watch a movie together. How does that sound? We don't have to do a lot of talking, but I really want to just be here with you. Oh my God. I think I will always say yes. Like that. So that's the takeaway of it can be win-win, and we get to be part of the equation. And my PESH is physically 4.25, emotionally 4.5, spirit 4.75, hope 4.65, and my word is present. How about you?
My takeaway is similarly to yours and how you started yours, that people pleasing is so unconscious. It really does happen unconsciously. I am so, so grateful though that it has become a word that we do use very commonly, right? Like you talk to someone on the street about people pleasing and they're like, yes, I know what you're talking about. I do that all the time. And so there's this recognition, this mutual language that we all speak, that we understand that that is on. So I'm really grateful for that. And I want to biggest takeaway. I feel like I have to close my eyes for this, but the intention and the expectation for people pleasing when we're in it, again, we aren't consciously doing it, but when we're in it, is to be caring and to be loving and to do it in service and to be helpful, but we start to put ourselves aside. And so my biggest message is to connect with yourself, and really figure out what you want, which is so hard. It's actually so, so hard. And I understand that. But pausing and noticing when, like, when your stomach flips when something happens, or you felt a little questionable about an interaction that you had with someone, or just noticing those little, like, those little messages, those little signs, those little tweaks within you, the way you carry yourself. Like, sometimes if someone says something that is mean, like, it literally, your heart hurts. So, like, noticing things like that, and instead of putting them aside, know that they actually really, really do matter. Noticing that they really matter, and that's what we mean when we say you matter. It's not just like, oh, you as a person bring value. It's like, yes, you bring value, but everything that's happening in you, everything that you're processing, and the unique way that you do it, that matters. And so when you bring all of those reactions and those actions, and that love and that care and those values to the things that you do, people really get to see you, and they really get to um, honor what you bring. So that's my takeaway. And my PESH is, physically, I am a 4.3, 4.35. Emotionally, I am a 4.8. Spirit is a 4.4, and no, 4.45, and hope is a 4.3, and my word is messy, but in an okay way. I'm gonna embrace that
Okay
messy.
to be messy.
Yeah, like, okay, messy. We're figuring it out. I'm not worried. I have lots of trust, so bake that in there. Like, messy trustness. Well, thank you for joining us today. We'll be back next week with a new episode.
Yes. Enjoy the rest of your day, and remember, you're more powerful than you realize.